Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It is, of course, Monday, June 30th, 2014, and political terrorists like Nancy Pelosi are calling the surge of illegal immigrants into the United States of America as an opportunity for all Americans. And I think it's important for us to have some context here. Not only has this been a created, pre-planned event, this crisis that came out of nowhere just in recent days to provide a smoke screen, the smoke and mirror campaign to prevent the American people from seeing what's really happening in places like Syria and Iraq and all the violence in the Middle East at the moment, the countless scandal after scandal, whether or not this is the IRS illegal targeting of conservative groups or Benghazi Gate or the illegal transfer failure to notify Congress of Bo Bergdahl in the exchange for 5 Durka terrorists. All of this created by the political elite in the United States of America. And now they're conveniently calling it an opportunity, according to people like Nancy Pelosi. But again, I want to provide some context for this problem reaction solution that we're conveniently seeing here in recent days and over the past few weeks as this debate has suddenly and mysteriously, like Flight 370, exploded onto the scene as the main narrative being perpetrated by the mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, etc., opening up the wound and these racial divisions in America in order to intentionally create chaos among the people. Again, this fake right-left paradigm, which is only in existence to do one thing: keep us fighting each other and to pretend that we actually have some kind of democracy, even though America is not supposed to be a democracy. It was founded as a constitutional republic. But again, political terrorists like Nancy Pelosi, conveniently, with perfect timing, calling the surge of illegal immigrants an opportunity. Calls in U.S. Congress for refugee status for Central American kids. Some leading members of U.S. Congress also conveniently calling on Obama and the Obama administration to consider launching in an emergency refugee program for Central American children as one way to address a rapidly escalating humanitarian crisis. Again, it's always a humanitarian crisis, whether or not it's chemical weapon attacks in Syria caused by the same rebels that Obama's arming so that he can politically maneuver Bashar al-Assad and potentially ouster him, just like they successfully did with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, an illegal and anti-constitutional act. But they always use it under the guise of a humanitarian crisis. Again, this is the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. All of this a smoke and mirrors campaign created by the political right and the political left. In fact, the political paradigm at large, all responsible for this planned chaos. Again, problem, reaction, solution. Senator Durbin says that Obama will borrow the power to solve immigration. He'll just bypass Congress once again. Says President Barack Obama will borrow the power that is needed to solve the problems of immigration. Made these statements in a recent speech. Says, I don't know how much more time he thinks he needs, but I hope that Speaker Boehner will speak up today, Durbin said, and if he does not, the president will borrow the power that is needed to solve the problems of immigration, and he shouldn't be sued as a result of it. Again, who cares about the Constitution? Who cares about the branches of government? Who cares about the House of Representatives, Congress, or the Senate? Just let Obama do what he wants. Again, people like Nancy Pelosi say this is an opportunity, of course, created by them, the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, all of this planned, and again, a smokescreen. Nancy Pelosi also saying that the border breach is an opportunity to serve God. To serve God's children, she says. Yeah, just a convenient opportunity, according to these political terrorists. Of course, thousands of illegal immigrants being bussed in and pouring into American cities and states like Texas, McAllen, Texas specifically, and states like Arizona. Others counterpunching the recent moves. Sheriff Joe here locally in Arizona saying that the United States should deploy the U.S. military to Mexico, saying specifically that he'll have a couple drinks with the Mexican president, and as long as he gets the okay, we'll move the U.S. military to secure our borders, which, quite frankly, is probably a damn good idea. And at least Sheriff Joe, although he's a very controversial figure and a conservative figure, at least this guy has balls and gets shit done. I've met him several times, interviewed him several times, and although he definitely plays to the media and he's learning how to use the media more and more day to day, especially social media. He's starting to begin to sense the power of that. I respect Joe because he does what he says he's going to do. And he really does, in my opinion, have the best interests of America and the securing our borders at heart, which is something that these political terrorists in Washington, D.C. don't. This, again, smoke and mirrors campaign and creating these opportunities to solve a problem that they caused and started in the first place. Now, to provide context to all of this. Some of you may be familiar. In fact, if you're not, you should be familiar with the Cloward-Piven strategy, a very famous strategy. Problem, reaction, solution. Again, the political terrorists create the problem, and then you get the reaction from the people, which is what's happening now, this divisive debate, opening up wounds, racial wounds, etc., and then you ultimately provide the solution to the problem that the political elite created in the first place. The Cloward-Piven strategy, of course, a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. That called for overloading the U.S. public welfare system in order to precipitate a crisis that would lead to a replacement of the welfare system with a national system of guaranteed annual income, and thus an end to poverty. Cloward and Piven were a married couple who were both professors at the Columbia University School of Social Work. And the strategy was formulated in a May 1966 article in the liberal magazine The Nation titled The Weight of the Poor, A Strategy to End Poverty. The two stated that many Americans who were eligible for welfare were not receiving benefits and that a welfare enrollment drive would strain local budgets, precipitating a crisis. This is all what's happening with immigration today. At the state and local levels, this is all happening in real life. Right now, that would be a wake-up call for the federal government, particularly the Democratic Party. There would also be side consequences of this strategy, according to Cloward and Piven. These would include easing the plight of the poor in the short term through their participation in the welfare system, shoring up support for the National Democratic Party, then splintered by pluralistic interests through its cultivation of poor and minority constituencies by implementing a national solution to poverty and relieving local governments of the financially and politically onerous burdens of public welfare. So basically what they do is they open up wounds. They open up wounds among the middle class and the lower class of our society and this immigration problem. And basically the political elite fuel the fire to it and create a problem, reaction, solution scenario. Again, this is the Hegelian dialectic. This is the Cloward-Piven strategy. Again, after opening up the wounds and getting and garnering the reaction that they need through the statist-controlled government media, the mainstream media as it is today, then they provide the solution. And they claim things like, hey, the surge of illegal immigrants is an opportunity. They also say things like, this is an opportunity to serve God's children. And then you have members of the government calling on U.S. Congress for Obama to bypass Congress entirely and to set up refugee camps for Central American kids. Again, they create the crisis as part of their plan to create chaos among individual states and cities so that they can later provide the solution to the problem that they created in the first place. And again, all this with very convenient timing. At the same time, Obama has been emblazoned in scandal after scandal, whether or not it was the trade of 5 terrorists for Bo Bergdahl, a known deserter, the NSA wiretapping, and all these anti-constitutional atrocities. Now the focus on immigration and the blasting of this debate by the mainstream media. All of this, again, classic Cloward-Piven strategy, classic Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. But what I think is important, and I think this is actually occurring right now with the political narrative, I really believe people are waking up. I've seen a massive transition over the past few years that I've been doing this. As we step into year 5, I've seen a massive consciousness shift. I believe people are truly waking up. They understand things like the Cloward-Piven strategy. They understand the Hegelian dialectic. They understand the fake right-left paradigm, the fact that this is all an illusion, and they are now stepping away from it. And we need to educate even more and more people so that they understand that they are falling right into the hands of the beast. They're falling into the hands of the strategy being used to divide and conquer Americans today. And it's exactly what's happening in real life with this immigration debate, with this newly catalyzed immigration crisis, all with perfect timing. And again, all a part of the playbook. I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting, and in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.